everyone. I have another process video for you because this is what happens when I binge 10 videos in a row. And today's video is going to look a little tiny bit similar to Thursday's video, I think, in that we're using 4 photos and we are scrapbooking animals, and we're going to use 49 and Market products. But today we are going to scrapbook horses, not cows. And we're using 49 and Market Orchard, Vintage Orchard, which is part of a Cherry on Top's fall cherry box. I will link a link in the description box below where you can subscribe to a cherry box, and you will get this one. As to the best of my knowledge, as of today, September of 2025, if you subscribe to the cherry box, you will get this cherry box as your first cherry box. And you can then wait until Jessica and Rachel reveal the winter cherry box because it's a quarterly box. And then you can go ahead and decide if you want to keep the cherry box or if you would rather skip the cherry box. You have lots of options with the cherry box. Fabulous. So I have here a piece of white cardstock. It measures 6.5 by 12. And I am taking all of the scraps from the other projects I've made with the cherry box. So this is layout number 3. I've made 2 layouts and a card with the fall cherry box. So this will be layout number 3. I am taking all of the different pattern paper scraps, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of cut them down and create sort of like, I guess you call it color blocking or pattern blocking, or like a little bit of like a quilt type of design. I'm going to take each section and trim down some scrap paper so I can kind of fit it in. And then every block that I am using is going to get inked up with a Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink. And all of the scrap papers that I've already cut into and used, they are all double-sided, so I can use both sides of each of them to kind of fill in. Basically, when this is done, you are going to see absolutely no white space. So you could use anything on here. You could use like some cardstock, colored cardstock you don't like. You could use thin cardstock that you've no use for. Really anything. You could use some. I have these 12 by 12 sheets of pattern of white cardstock that I call crap stock. That's what I used. It's too thin. It will never work for mixed media. It will never work for a background. But for this type of application, perfect. If you didn't get a chance to see yesterday's video, I highly recommend going back one video and watching it. It's my son Morgan and I, we did a little shop with me video. We had so much fun. We had the best afternoon together when we shot that video. And it's just super, it was so much fun. I hope that if you have a little bit of extra time and can go back and watch that one, you'll enjoy it. It was very, very fun to film. And everything that I bought at Harbor Freight absolutely 100% worked to the way I thought it would. So good to know, right? So once I have this paper completely covered with all of these patterns, the next step is then to use this paper to map my photos, which is why I chose to cut my paper at 6.5 by 12, because the one photograph I'm going to be scrapbooking today is a true 4 by 6 inch print, and I wanted to make sure I had a nice map around that photo. So now I'm going to take these photos, and while I kind of decide where the photos are going to go, I'll tell you the story of today's photos. So I am using this cherry box to document all of the different animals from my I call it the big vacation from 2023. My husband and I went away for our 25th wedding anniversary. We were gone for 10 days, and I have so many photographs and so many stories. And going on a big trip is not something we do every year at all. So every couple years I'll end up with a travel album or 2 travel albums, and that's okay because we are not travelers. So when we do go out into the world and travel, it is a big, big deal. So we stayed at an Airbnb. We stayed in this tiny house on a farm. I already did the page about the rooster named Cupcake and the cute cat named Sumi that came to visit me. Now we're going to talk about the horses. So all of the animals at the Airbnb were rescue animals. So they had all been rescued and adopted by the woman that owns the property. And these animals were like the sweetest animals ever. Like they were very much domesticated, and like they would come up to you and they wanted to be petted, and they were so kind. My husband and I had gotten some apples that we brought to the tiny house. And so we would go out every morning before we would go off and get in our car and go on our next tour or next adventure. And we would go ahead and feed the horses apples. And so when I pulled these photos out to Scrapbook, I already knew I wanted to do the vintage orchard. I had set this cherry box aside as these are going to be the pages that I'm going to use to scrapbook the different animals, which I'm almost done with. I only have 2 more photographs to scrapbook, and then I can move on to something else with this box. Maybe more fall photos from this year or something. But anyway, so this is just all the horses and us. We were feeding them apples. You can see in the top photograph, I have an apple in my hand and I'm feeding him a piece of it. Most of these pictures are taken with my phone except for the top one. The top one my husband took with his grandfather's camera, so that made it special. So you saw me grab the exclusive Chroma Mist from the cherry box, and I just splattered down the 2 edges of my printed pattern paper. The Chroma Mist is this beautiful, like rusty orangey color. It's very, very like light and subtle, and it's so gorgeous. I just needed to use it. I've used it on a couple of my other projects as well. I went through all of the embellishments. So I went through the chipboard words and the chipboard shapes and the ephemera pack, and I chose some pieces that I thought worked really well for what my journaling is going to be about. And I also have the laser cuts. I decided not to pull those out because I wasn't sure which ones I'd actually use, and I don't like to pull the laser cut elements off of the big sheet until I am absolutely sure where it's going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and go through each section. I am going to add journaling, so you can see there I added journaling box, and I'm just going to go through and choose. I ended up using a good bit of the chipboard, but more of the laser cut elements, which that's kind of how I roll, right? We know this already. Chipboard's not my favorite, but there are some really cute. I love the words. The chipboard words are cute. So we're going to go ahead with these and kind of get these clusters into place. So we're going to have 3 clusters, and I chose 2 of the chipboard words, delightful and moments. So that's going to create my title for this one. And then anything I could find that was apples, right? So any of the laser cuts, elements that were apples, anything from like the little words. I found things that said tasty treat, so delicious, so good, fresh picked, delicious pickings. And then I'll add my journaling for the apples. So here is basically my plan. It did change a little bit once I started to glue things down. I moved some things around, and also I added my journaling, which I'm going to do right now. Mostly I added the journaling because I knew once I started to put these layers down and around my journaling area that I wouldn't be able to go back in and write. So plus I wasn't sure how much room it would take to write what I wanted. So there is my journaling block. Everything is already added, and now I can just go ahead and start to get all of these little embellishments down. Because I used this kit, because I didn't go off and use a bunch of techniques, and I have a lot of photos on this page. This is another like great multi-photograph layout. I got this one done really, really quick. So I absolutely love how this layout turned out. It's so cute. So I'm just going to go through every one of these little layers, kind of pull them up, glue them down, and then this one is all finished. I do glue my laser cut elements down with my glue press because I have had the unfortunate experience of trying to use my tape runner on these really delicate pieces from the laser cut elements and having them tear. Just the pressure literally from me pulling back my tape runner has torn these. So now they are a glue only because I can use my glue press, put a tiny little drop of glue in the back, and I don't accidentally tear off the delicate pieces. Our emoji for today's video is an apple. So if you've enjoyed my video today, if you would like to support my channel, you don't need to spend any money. Just hit that like button, and in the comments section below, leave a comment with an apple emoji. And YouTube views comments strictly as comments. So when you do that, it will show my video to others on their home screen of if you watch a lot of crafty videos, and then you'll find mine recommended to you. And so people who haven't found me yet can find me, if that makes sense. All right, everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.